Welcome to Chefs in the City. I'm Ann Fisher along with my co-hosts Rich Terapak and Steve Stover. We're back with more news and views of the food scene in Central Ohio and beyond. Questions, comments, you can email us at chefsinthecity111@gmail.com. Today we're talking with Chef Andrew Smith. He has plied his culinary skills in Central Ohio since 2009 as executive chef at Rockmill Tavern, Philco, Salt and Pine, and for 5 years at the Rossi. He is well known for his popular supper clubs and private dinners at his West Side home. Now, Smith is scheduled to open the much anticipated Isla in Marion Village this summer. Andrew Smith, welcome to Chefs in the City.
Thank you for having me.
You know, some 7 years ago, you were emerging as a local superstar when you quit the restaurant business, sort of. And I wondered if you could talk about that and how you're doing it differently this time.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I always loved about the restaurant industry, but there are a lot of things that I didn't. And, you know, I just got to a point where the things that I didn't love about it were outweighing the things that I loved. And I felt like if I wanted to preserve any kind of love that I had for the industry, I needed to kind of step away for a little bit and not get, you know, too sucked into the stereotypes and overwhelmed, because they are a thing, you know. So I did that and started doing some consulting, some private dinners, and then that's how the supper club started in our home.
When did it start?
2019.
So pretty close to COVID.
Yeah.
Turned out pretty well, yeah.
Yeah, we did some takeout
Good
meals
timing.
during COVID instead, but yeah.
And it changed the atmosphere for you enough, or the vibe enough for you that you feel like it's time to jump back in?
Yeah, we started doing these dinners in our home, and it went from like 10 people once a month to 12 people twice a month to 14 people 3 times a month. And then we would add a fourth day every once in a while. It kind of spiraled into this big, beautiful mess of a thing. And now we're, we started to love food again and like love the service of it. And so we were able to kind of come up with a way to strip away those things that we left, the reasons that we left, and kind of reintroduce our version of what we want the restaurant industry to be like.
So you were working within your own space.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing next, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, yeah, that makes sense.
The human,
Here.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. The human connection of it was, at first it was like, hey, let's cook some food. Like, I want to be creative again. We want to do something creative together. And then people started coming and meeting each other, and they didn't know each other before they started, and they're now going on vacations together and like going to each other's weddings. And I'm like, my goodness, this is bigger than food.
Building community.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Aaron, in the Columbus Monthly, Aaron
Edwards.
like when she wrote about that, she mentioned that people didn't know each other, and she went kind of course by course describing how the content of the conversation sort of evolved.
She did a great job
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, it was really good. So one aspect of it that I thought about, I think it was in the Aaron story, was if you're happy and you feel comfortable, your guests are going to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Whereas we mostly think about service industry as the customer's always right.
Right.
And if they're, all that matters is that they're happy.
Right.
You kind of flip that.
Yeah, because it was very evident to me towards the end of my traditional restaurant career that I just couldn't do it anymore.
And it affected your creativity too?
Yeah, it really did. And, this time it's different because I'm not working for anyone else. I'm working for myself. So, if it doesn't work out, it's my fault. But that being said, I don't have anybody looking over my shoulder. One of the silver linings was that we were able to do this with no investors and no co-signers.
That's terrific.
Oh,
Great.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yes.
We're really proud of that. And it kind of allows for that full effort of creativity to
Well,
be
then
given.
when and how did you decide to go back to the business?
Yeah, what triggered it?
Yeah. like I said, when we started doing these dinners and then we were doing pop-ups and people just kept wanting to come and we kept selling them, all of them out in short amount of time. And we slowly realized that like this was something. And then the human connection, like we talked about, it started to happen and we're like, this is more than something. And then we started to really kind of enjoy it again because of those reasons. And
essentially, you were
yeah.
doing one menu that you created.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a card put in front of anybody that said, "No, I don't want that. I think I
Right.
have this."
Yeah.
And that's
Set
good control
menu.
as well. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Food cost and preparation
Yeah, inventory.
and time. Yeah.
Predictability.
Yeah, those are a lot of the reasons as well as like we figured out a way to, have a low overhead, be creative, and cut
Keeps
our
those
costs.
pesky investors
Yeah.
away. You know?
And all of those like unexpected moments that happen in restaurants every day, we have a little more control over those now.
Terrific.
When I was in 2023, you were shooting for a September debut for Isla in the Marion Village location.
Yeah.
That's obviously been put off.
Right.
But because you don't have to worry about investors and that sort of a thing, you can kind of flex your muscles in your own good
Right.
time.
Which is why it took as long as it did.
A lot of muscles.
Yeah, it just, saying, I guess if we wanted an investor, we could have been open then, but we didn't. So, yeah.
And
Here
why
we are.
Marion Village?
One sec. So my barber at the time was I went in for a haircut and he had a client that had just purchased this building in Marion Village and was looking for someone to put some kind of a restaurant in it, and so that's how we kind of got interested there. But over time, it was more than just the connection that my barber gave me. It was like, this is an amazing space. This is a great neighborhood.
It's a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like the parking situation is great. Like we have great neighbors. There's an event center in the same building as our restaurant. So we have opportunities to do some catering, and it just kind of all worked out. Yeah.
I know there was a coffee shop, but I didn't
Yeah.
know about the event center.
There's an event center in there as well. Yeah.
How many people can?
I think it's upwards of 300.
Oh, wow,
And
that's big,
And
yeah.
they have 3 different rooms, so you can do smaller or larger parties.
That's
It's called
terrific.
the Century.
So I guess I was going to ask you if anything about your concept for Isla changed in the meantime, and I guess the venue itself gave you a lot of other different
It really
options.
did. Yeah, we didn't really want to box ourselves into a corner with just our regular dinner service. So we will have our regular dinner service. That's probably 3 nights a week, and it's 2 seatings of 14, 8-course menu.
8 courses.
Yeah. And then outside of that, we'll have opportunities to teach some cooking classes based on the previous month's menu. We'll do some brunches on the weekends, private parties, chef collaborations, bartender collab. Like we just have all these ideas. And so we're really looking forward to being able to like have multiple streams of revenue for the place, but also multiple like outlets of creativity.
Your approach, I know you have lots of chef friends in town. What do they think about it? The ones who are still in the more traditional, take what you may, take what comes.
Yeah, I
They're
feel
jealous.
I mean, part of me hopes they're jealous because then maybe they would want to, do
Right.
something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that that all I know is that I have all the support from them. Like they love the concept and they're all there for me all the time, like just texting every once in a while, just seeing how things are going. And the community is definitely abundant.
Yeah, I think we've got a really good chef's community, very supportive of
And
each
that's
other.
something that we
Creative,
discover over
yeah.
and over again on the show
Yeah,
is
sure.
just how uncoordinatedly coordinated you are. You get along, and that's again that the trope of chefs being viciously competitive and all
Right.
that stuff
Yeah. Like, I mean,
put to rest.
the competition, I guess some people might enjoy that or, see the entertainment in it. But at the end of the day, like we all just want to build a better food city.
And we're more Midwesterner.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what's going to be on the menu.
Let's get down to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get all the bad ideas out of the way right now. So
What's been your successful ideas on the pop-ups?
Yeah.
What carries?
let's see. So generally, like when people ask me what the food is like, I usually tell them that obviously it's based on seasonality. Because I feel like that's how you should cook. We take into consideration waste a lot with what we do.
Sure.
We try to utilize waste instead of throwing things away. And then we just want to cook things that we like to eat, and we hope that other people like them. We try to have an array of like some vegetable dishes, cold fish, hot fish, just kind of like whatever we want to make, and every menu will kind of flow into the next menu. So there will very rarely be something on a menu that didn't have something to do with the previous
An
one.
iteration from
Yeah.
before, okay.
Do you have signature items that you repeat? Or themes?
Yeah, we do from time to time. We do a dish that we call the potato cloud, which is just
Yeah, I heard
very
about
simple.
that.
It's just a Robichon potato with
Okay.
fontina mousse and fresh grated nutmeg. But that dish is
Nutmeg.
like, that was my aha moment in a restaurant. Not that specific dish, but those flavors. So I just wanted to recreate that moment that I had in a restaurant that I was working in, where I was like, oh, wow, this is really delicious. So,
Oh, the fontina cheese and the nutmeg,
yeah.
that's a wonderful combination.
Yeah, it really is. And it was in Portland, Oregon, at a place called Blue Hour. And it was my last day, and the chef said, have whatever you want in the menu. And I was like, I want those gnocchi. And they were in that sauce, and then he put a whole bunch of truffle over the top of it, which I don't necessarily need.
Yeah.
But the nutmeg was what did it for me. It was great.
What else?
Let's see. Fennel is like my favorite vegetable ever. So we do a pork and fennel dish where it's like a braised pork collar that we chill and then slice and sear, so it's nice and caramelized. And then we take the fennel and braise it in buttermilk, and then take everything that's separated off of the buttermilk, the solids, and then we caramelize them and puree it and serve it with the fennel. And then
Okay.
I'm getting
Good idea.
hungry.
the
wonderful.
pork usually just sits off to the side on its own. And it's almost more about the
And the
fennel
pork
than it is
stands
the
alone.
pork.
Yeah.
But, like,
It's funny. I do a scallop potato
yeah.
that has
I
the
love
fennel,
those.
the fennel in it, and it is and fontina. So I don't think I stole it from.
Try the
them.
nutmeg.
No, the scalloped potatoes are so good.
I know. Wow. I mean, didn't we grow up with those things? I love them still.
I even
The secret
ate
is to
boxed
boil the
ones.
potatoes.
I grew up with the boxed ones. I'm pretty sure that's what my mom made. 5 kids, God love her.
Well, tell us about the space and how you're going to use it.
Yeah. So when you walk in, directly to your left will be a small little bar. It'll be a walk-up bar, but it's mainly there for our services. So we have a place to make drinks. And then there will be a little lounge area to the right with a couch and some small little tables and some chairs and stuff. And then closest to the bar will be the first seating of 14. That way, when people are done eating, they don't feel like they're in the way, or they can stay at their table or go over to the lounge area and kind of hang out if they want to
Really?
get some more drinks.
Okay.
And then the second seating of 14 will have started as the other one is ending. So they may overlap by a course or two, but they'll be
Okay.
closer to the kitchen.
Is it an open kitchen?
Yeah.
So-
And then we have a chef's counter that seats 6 people. And we'll do those periodically, like maybe just a few nights a month until the demand is a little higher. But those nights are the ones that I'll probably look forward to the most, because it'll just be my wife and I in the kitchen, and then someone helping with dishes.
I was going to ask you about how this kind of a operation that you're planning affects staffing and that sort of a thing. What it takes, does it change that computation?
So we have 6 employees, including ourselves. And then Well, on our busiest nights when we do our 2 services in one night, it'll be 2 front of house, 2 in the kitchen, and 1 on the dish tank. And we just like to keep it small and minimal. And I will always be there touching the food and like serving it to you and explaining it to you. So you don't ever have to worry about like, oh, is the chef here or is he not?
Yeah. Did you have that many?
So if you don't
home?
like it, it's actually my fault.
Did you have that many in your home, or this is a bigger operation?
We did 14 in our home, but only 1 seating.
Okay.
Two tables.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time.
Yeah. So in the restaurant, it'll be 2 seatings in the same evening.
So
3
you
nights a
touch
week.
every dish before it goes out.
Yeah. I'll
Perfect.
have my
That's
eye and my
wonderful.
hands on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want to do. That's
Yeah,
the fun of it,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, it really is. When you're able to control and be able to anticipate like what your night is going to be like, it just lowers the stress level, and then you can actually pay more attention to
Right.
what you're supposed to be paying attention to.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it makes you wonder. I mean, I tell these guys all the time, my fantasy is to go to some little hole-in-the-wall restaurant somewhere in Italy, and they tell you what you're having.
Right.
You know, that's fine. And other people are like, oh no, I want to tell them, butter on the sauce on the side, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
There are places for that.
yeah, there's a lot of most places for that.
Yeah. But
Where in Marion Village? Give us
it's
some-
116 East Moeller is the address. It's on the corner of 4th and Moeller.
Okay,
It's
easy to find.
It's where the old Bake Me Happy space was.
Ah,
There
okay.
you go.
Yeah.
What is driving your opening at this point?
We are finishing up construction the end of this month. And as long as that all goes well, we will be doing some private dinners and stuff in May.
Soft opening.
Yeah, kind of like a whole month of soft opening. We have all of our supper club people.
Send us in.
You got it.
Well, you've
You
seen
got
it,
it.
Steve. You've
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah.
What's your impression?
Well, I just thought it was just very simple, and it wasn't finished because we got a late start because you had to pick up paint.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
things are still going on, but I love the area. I love the neighborhood feel of it, and I love the concept of the 14 people and the communal tables and sharing with the chef. They're cooking for them and with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you go out when you're not cooking for others?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that we have a very amazing ethnic food scene in our city, and it's often overlooked. If I want Mexican food, I'm usually going to the West Side. If I want some kind of Asian food, I'm usually going to Bethel area.
Yeah.
One of our favorite places is Jutai,
Yep.
Bethel, off of Bethel Road, over in the Micro Center Plaza.
Back
Okay,
to
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Hand pulled noodles and
It's back to back with Buckeye Foot, too,
yes,
which is another
yes,
one
it
of my
is.
favorites.
Yeah, we love Northeast Chinese, but we also love our privately owned like small chef driven restaurants as well. We really love going to Spec. My friend Jay is the chef there, and he's awesome, and they always treat us really well when we go. And we love Commune a lot. They're a great example of like just staying true to who you are.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very creative too.
Yeah, exactly. No, they do a good job. We love Veritas, and then we love our neighborhood bars. We love Club 185. My wife worked there for, I don't know, like 15 years
Really?
or
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
Great burgers.
managed there for a while.
And it's such a
Yeah.
bargain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That omelet, you can't finish it.
Last time we were
I mean,
there,
not made with 4 eggs anymore. Maybe only 3.
last time we were there, Kent Rigsby was sitting at the kitchen
yeah.
having lunch.
Yeah.
So of all people,
There's just so much now.
Yeah. A lot of options for sure.
It's good. And this is something we've been asking the chefs so far for the last 4 years is how did the pandemic change things for you? Now, it seems like that wasn't necessarily why you got out of,
Right.
didn't drive you out like it did some, but
you beat it.
yeah, you beat the
You started
pandemic.
in 19.
I mean, I feel
right
like
before.
it was kind of a driving force into why we are opening the restaurant the way we're opening it and the concept that we're doing, because there were a lot of things that got exposed in the restaurant industry during the pandemic, and a lot of people realized that like this kind of isn't worth it. Now I feel like I'm knocking like your traditional restaurant, like a la carte restaurant, and I'm not at all. There are a lot of them that are some of my favorite places to go and that have done very well and continue to do so. But for me, like it just really opened my eyes to all of the things that it was a reminder of why I left the restaurant industry. And I wanted to have, if I ever entered it again, I wanted to have more control over it. And so that's why we're
I
doing what
forgot
we're
to ask this earlier. How does your background in Oregon inform your current?
Oh yeah.
Cooking.
So we're very fortunate in Oregon. I mean, the local ingredients there are just abundant. Access to so many amazing ingredients. Don't have that here, so it kind of forces us. I mean, we do. I don't mean that we don't have good produce and stuff here, but there are less options here. Yeah. But I loved working in Portland. It was just an awesome food scene. And one of the restaurants that I worked at, we did a lot of wine dinners. So I got a lot of reps at a younger age in the restaurant industry and got exposed to tasting menus and things like that.
Yeah.
And it really kind of like piqued my interest. And it was like, I want to do something like this one day. And
What brought you back to
now it's here.
Ohio?
So I moved here in 2009 for family reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And stayed.
And stayed, yes.
Yeah.
I have 2
Does
kids.
it surprise you
drive
about?
you out.
Well, you have kids here.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I stayed, and but I've just kind of grown to love the people here and love the city, and I never thought I would be a Buckeye fan. I didn't want to be, but
You don't have to be. I have been here for 33 years.
You're a Buckeye fan except when they play Michigan
I like
State.
the band.
like we live in an interesting city, and we're just trying to, make it better and keep it interesting, and
Yeah. Well,
And thank you for doing that.
yeah. Thank you for doing that. Looking forward to maybe we do a what do we call them? Field trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a field trip is due.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be great.
Andrew Smith, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, it's Chef Andrew Smith. He is opening up Isla in Marion Village early summer. Check it out. I'm wishing you every success with that. It bodes well for everyone when something like that can succeed. Steve, any news you want to talk about? Anything?
Well, if we've got time,
We've got a few minutes.
Mastro's Steakhouse, the Phoenix and West Coast popular steakhouse, opened recently in the former McCormick and Schmick's space.
Oh, in Easton?
In Easton,
In Easton,
yeah.
Okay.
in the corner, and it's a beautiful place. And
Across from
I
Silver
always,
Crown.
I always
One
admired
of-
that building.
Yeah, it's a pretty building with all the windows and everything.
and
Yeah.
one of 4 important new steakhouses opening this year: Butcher and Rose, Capitol Girell, and soon to be Smith and Walensky, which
A lot of
left-
beef. A
left-
lot
Who
of beef.
knew?
Steakhouse of
and
Palooza.
it's moving into the Hyatt
The Hyatt downtown.
Regency downtown
Yeah.
in the
in
hotel.
in where the it's like conventioneer time.
Yeah, real well during the Arnold.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
You can't get enough beef
But
in
yeah,
house.
what is the
Yeah.
deal with all the steakhouses?
Yeah,
I thought,
I don't
back when
understand.
Morton's left, I thought that was
And not only
the-
steakhouses, but high-end steakhouses.
yeah, exactly.
These are all
I'd appreciate a low
Not-
end steakhouse
not
myself.
my
but-
parents' kind of place.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to spend about $10 on dinner, and this can be. But people are going there in droves.
Jeff Ruby's doing okay.
And Jeff Ruby's
They're
still
still
okay.
open,
And
yeah.
there's Gala, and there's a
My
bunch of other
goodness.
steakhouses.
Are we trying to break a record here?
Yeah, it's
What's
kind
going
of
on?
crazy. I thought it was sort of going out.
Yeah.
Just the whole idea of that huge, the big steak with the,
Yeah.
a la carte pot of butter and all that stuff was going.
Interesting that all of these are not chef-owned.
Yes.
They're all concepts that are brought to you by somebody who put together.
I wonder if it's
They're
just the
corporate,
view
yeah.
of Central Ohio and Columbus as a new conventioneer town, as, because of the growing population and all this stuff moving in. And
Yeah.
Although last year we had Agni and Horaeus, and most of the important new restaurants were chef owned.
yeah.
And then this year it just turned completely around.
It was sort of like post-COVID. There were a lot of chefs who wanted to get back into the business, I think, and were sitting around with ideas that they wanted to put in place. And most of them have done that now. Hopefully, there's always a stream of those guys, or girls. Yeah.
And we went to the Columbus Monthly's top 10 new restaurants event in the, I guess it was in the Arena District. We had some of them were Jean's, the new restaurant in downtown Dublin that's attached to Coastal. It's a Coast Wine House. Butcher and Rose, Chouette, the French place at Gay and High, Flower Modern Pasta Bar, Kung Fu Noodles in the Northwest, and of course Cameron Mitchell's Del Mar in Easton.
There's always a Cameron Mitchell out there.
A couple.
Well, so is Butcher and Rose.
Butcher
too.
Yeah,
and Rose,
exactly.
Cento, it's all.
Cento.
One of my favorite things is that one of the top 10 new restaurants in Columbus Monthly was Littleton's, the cafe in Littleton's grocery
Yeah,
store.
that's awesome.
That's
I,
new.
I got to do some
And-
consulting
And
for them.
by the way,
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
yeah, and Rob's going to be on with us soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another episode.
And so I was just there this week.
Yeah.
Had a great lunch. So who knew?
Smash burger.
Smash
Smash
burger. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks,
There's
Andrew.
smash burger.
Their culinary director is a pretty awesome guy. His name's Charlie. He's
Yep.
fantastic. Yeah.
We're going to hear all about them and a lot more coming up in future episodes. But for now, to our audience, please like, subscribe, and share Chefs in the City with your crew. Contact us at chefsinthecity111@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at Chefs in the City 614. And join us next time because a great meal is best shared. So I'm Ann Fisher with my co-hosts, Rich Terapak and Steve Stover. And once again, to Andrew Smith, thanks for joining us. Take care.
Boxland Media. Think big.